Hi, ladies. I'm super excited for you to be here, for you to have joined me in this container. I'm going to hold this space for you. This is a reminder of what you are, because we have forgotten. We've been raised and conditioned to be the persons that we are today, and our personalities have shaped us into who we are. However, these personalities hold shadows. These shadows makes us grow apart from our true beings. We have to recognize what our shadows are, what our patterns are, to become our true and most potent, most magnetic, most true self. So I am super excited for you to have joined me in this container because it is life changing. Okay, so let's get started. I would love to give you an introduction. A few years ago, I was in a room full of people and I felt completely invisible. Kept on making the same mistakes over and over and never really noticing what my patterns were. I felt like I had a hole on my chest. I felt like I needed external things like validation. I needed attention from people that were not fulfilling me. Sometimes I was constantly trying to be chosen. I was constantly trying to just be enough. But in the process, I lost connection. I lost connection to who I am. Over time, I began to notice the patterns that I was holding on to. I began to notice my shadows and how often I dimmed my light. I dimmed my light in relationships, online, and even on how I spoke to myself. When I had launched my swimwear brand, I wanted women to feel amazing in their own skin. However, I realized I was still focusing on the surface. I was still focusing on looks. That I knew that there was a deeper kind of self-acceptance, a deeper kind of confidence, of self-worthiness and self-assurance. Slowly, it wasn't a one-time thing. Slowly, I started reconnecting to who I am, with my energy, with my femininity, with my truth. It wasn't just flipping a switch. It was more about coming home piece by piece. Everything began to shift, not on how others saw me, but how I saw myself. Can you relate to this feeling of not like you're doing the most, but never quite feeling enough? Like you needed to over apologize, over explain something. You needed to get attention from other people. Or maybe you compared yourself. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. That was me. That was the person that I used to be. This version of me had no idea that she had the power inside of her. Her energy, that person of me that was feeling this way, she wasn't the real me. Her energy was in survival. It was the beginning of a new era for me. Inner work, it's not a one-time thing. It comes in different stages. It comes in different situations. It comes in different relationships. You need to continue to do it and trust the divine timing. We need to work from the inside out in order to activate our self-worth, to have this unshakable confidence that nobody else is going to take it. Nothing outside of you will break you down. This is when I created the absolute truths. The absolute truths are about love. I have five absolute truths where I tell my beginning, where I felt like I wasn't enough. This absolute truths to remind myself what life is about, basically. The absolute truths consist of love, people are uncertain, death, and time. When I listen to them, it's like it's grounding my energy to remind me that everything is working out in my favor. I'm going to leave them down in the description area for you to listen to them on your own time, because they're so powerful. They're powerful bases to make you ground yourself. This is just the baseline. You can use them as your baseline, but what we're trying to do is look at yourself, look at your belief system, and rewire something different. Because what you have created so far, what you have right now, is based on your belief system, is based on what you think that you are worthy, what you think that you deserve. Everything that you have and you do not have is because you have chosen for yourself. So I need to ask you, are you ready to step into this type of work? I feel my entire body full of goosebumps because I feel this truth that I'm ready to hold your hand into this journey. This is the beginning for you to start a different life, the life that you were always meant for. The first week, we're going to talk about the foundation, self-worthiness, the power of self-worth, and how our brain is signaling the universe, the stars, the God, the higher power to show us, to match our energy. If you think that your self-worth, you have low self-worth, you're not going to believe that you are a person that is capable of doing something. However, I don't want you to be disappointed, because if you have low self-worth, you can make a change for yourself today, right now. You can make a change for today and fix your low self-worth. When you start working in yourself, you start seeing changes and how it ripples the effect on every area in your life. However, we must be very conscious, because maybe we do not know what our beliefs are. They are going to come to the surface as we start to do this inner work. It is not a one-day thing. That is the reason that I say you must work on this every day. Because limiting beliefs show up. You're trying to do something and then you get upset for something. That trigger is telling you something about yourself. At times, I'm going to sound as if I'm repeating myself, but I am not. I do it on purpose, because our brain learns through repetition. Okay? Before we get started into self-worth, I want to touch on a subject, and that is love. I believe that love, if we do the things that we do with love, you have a way bigger effect on people, on your career, on your relationships. So what does love mean? I've gathered many definitions from different sources, such as a dictionary, such as different sacred books. And what I've gathered so far is to accept oneself unconditionally. But us as humans, we do not know how to do that. We've been conditioned to do certain things to be loved. When we choose to love ourselves unconditionally, we teach other people how to love themselves, and we teach our partners how to love us. Okay, bear with me, because let me give you an example. Before I got into this type of work, I used to be in a very not healthy relationship. And this relationship was very conditional. I was very mean. I would want certain things, and if that person didn't give me that, I would get upset. Or to better explain it, I would withdraw my love because he wasn't meeting my expectations. That type of action is what means to love someone else conditionally. You're putting conditions to the person that you say that you love, and that person thinks that he is not enough for you because you are conditioning them. A mature, healthy person wouldn't accept that. A mature, healthy person wouldn't accept to be conditioned, because he or she knows what they're worth. He or she wouldn't be put in that position. When both partners choose to be with someone and they accept oneself unconditionally, this is when love thrives. Both partners are whole. This is where love creates almost magic. Us humans, we have moment to moment experiences. What does that mean? That one day or in the morning, I can feel like I love myself. But if something happens, if I gain weight, if I don't know, get a scar, you are going to not love yourself because this external thing is happening. If you base your love towards yourself, if you base love on your looks and then somebody takes it from you, your self-worth is going to come down. So how can we become or accept oneself unconditionally? I'm going to give it to you so you can reflect on your own time for this to be a journey, a fulfilling journey. I would love for you to reflect if you truly love yourself. And if you do not, if you don't like certain things, please write it down. Write everything that you don't like about yourself, write it down. Also write the things that you do like about yourself. Okay? And in week 1, we're going to work on the foundation. I have my notes underneath this. So if I look down, it's because I want to remain on agenda on everything that I talk about and not forget anything, any little detail. Writing is going to become your number one thing for this inner journey. Okay? Our lesson of today is self-worth. I believe is the foundation of all things. What does the law of mentalism say? We're going to base everything that I say, we're going to base it off on science and on the universal laws. What does the law of mentalism say? The all is the mind. Everything starts with your mind. Your mindset creates your reality. What do we know? We know that 99%, this is a fact. We know that 99% of things is energy, right? So if 99% is energy, the 1% is the composition of the atom. We are focused. We are so focused on everything that is surrounding us, and that is creating our mind. Okay, I need to give you examples because we need to go in depth with this. What happens when I say all men are the same? Many of you, before we started this container, I asked you, what are you interested in? What areas you want to work on? Some of you said love. Some of you said business. I'm going to give examples for each area. What happens in love, for example? What happens when I have this belief system? Maybe you're not conscious about this belief system that says all men are the same. What happens? You are creating your reality. You're saying all men are the same. So you're not giving the energy, the universe, the stars to give you something else because you think that all men are the same. What does that mean? Whatever you think it means. What is happening in your job or in your or you have a business and you say, "Oh my God, Greta, I cannot have sales. Like I don't know what's going on." What are you focusing on? You're so focused on what you do not have that you're not giving the universe, the stars, the energy to give you what you want because you're focused on what you do not have. So I come to you now and say, what do you think about you? For your homework, you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to ask yourself, bring out your journal, or you're just going to be very conscious on what your mind says while you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Your self-worth is shaped by your beliefs. If you believe, you look at yourself and you say, oh, I'm ugly, oh, I'm blah, 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 I don't have enough of this, I don't have enough of that. If you believe that you are unworthy, you're unworthy of love, you're unworthy of clients, you're unworthy of sales, you will act accordingly. So what can you do? So what can you do now? You have to start in the mind. The healing starts in the mind. By shifting your thoughts, you will change your life. Another thing that I must say, that I believe everything that works out in my favor. And another thought, all beliefs are limiting beliefs. Okay? Believe what you think is best for you. Okay, so if everything, let's do a recap. If everything starts in the mind, what are you believing? What are you paying attention to? What have been your thoughts on that area that you need to work on so far that the world, the universe, the stars are giving you the same thing? What is self-worth? Self-worth is the deep inner belief in your value and worthiness as a person. Doesn't include your achievements or circumstances, your validation, what you've been able to become. To increase your self worth, you merely have to believe that you are worthy. Stand confidently in your value, empowering you to make healthier decisions, to cultivate fulfilling relationships. Your self worth becomes the foundation on how you see yourself interact with the world in all areas in your life. With your inner belief guiding the opportunities and circumstances that reflect your true self worth. However, if you think negatively about yourself, your reality will reflect that. The people, opportunities, life, love, relationships, friends, circumstances will mirror these thoughts. It's okay. I've been there. That's why I created this. Let's talk about the impact of low self-worth on decision making and relationships. When self-worth is low, we tend to seek external validation. We tend to look for external sources that's going to fulfill us. This can manifest in choosing relationships that don't align with your needs. Maybe you're tolerating mistreatments or making decisions that don't honor your values or your true desires. Low self-worth often results on feelings of inadequacy, in self-doubt, in fear, and often leading in self-sabotage or missed opportunities. In relationships, low self-worth can create dynamics such as people-pleasing, emotional dependency. When we are in low self-worth, when we have low self-worth, this can impact in all areas in our life. This impacts and limits us to stepping fully into our own self, into our full potential. That's what I meant to say. And then we're also going to talk about recognizing external influences and societal conditioning that is affecting our self-worth. So what does that mean? So how we view ourselves is based on external influences. What's external influences? Family, the media, society, family, friends, past experiences, and so on. So from a young age, we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned to base our worth on external measures like appearance, like success, or based on how others perceive us. These beliefs are often ingrained or on our subconscious mind. So a lot of us are not conscious on what our belief system is. However, we've talked about low self-worth, but let's take it back. What did I say in the beginning? What does the law of mentalism say? The law of mentalism says that whatever we focus on, we will get. The law of mentalism teaches you that you have the power to override these external thoughts and to choose what you want for yourself. You're not a victim here. The people who are here in this course are capable of getting the thing that they want. That is the type of woman that I've attracted into this container. You're going to be able to get everything that you've ever desired. everything. You have the power to override these external thoughts and to create your own mental reality. If your worth is defined by external things, be sure that once you do not have those things, you're going to be taken to the ground. You are going to have low self-worth. You're going to feel like everything is falling because this is the foundation. So this is a little practice that I've learned, I've created for you guys, and this part is the self-knowledge part where you get to learn about yourself, where you actually take charge, where you get to identify and challenge your limiting beliefs around self-worth. This exercise directly aligns with the law of mentalism because it encourages you to become aware on what is on your mind. These thoughts and beliefs that influence your sense of self-worth. Once we begin to identify them, we can start to shift them and to create a new reality for us. So let's start with the first question. Write down everything that you think about yourself. That's hard. Let me go in depth. Write down any negative thoughts. Maybe look at yourself in the mirror. Maybe look at every area in your life. Write down everything that comes to your mind. Once you identify this type of negative belief, let's say, I'm not good enough. Let's say you cannot find sales, right? You cannot, you're not attracting your ideal customer. You think that you've been doing everything, but you tell me, Greta, but I'm not getting the right client. What is it that is it your sales position? Is it your pitch? What is it that you think that you're not doing? What is that negative thought? Write the story. Once you've identified a story, you're going to choose only one area throughout the entire process. Once we're done with the entire process, you can go into another area. Let's say that you said that you wanted to get better in your business. You're an entrepreneur and you're attracting some clients, however, they're not enough. Now ask yourself, now that you have identified that you feel like you're not good enough, you're not good enough of a salesperson, I want you to ask yourself, where is this belief coming from? Did someone else tell you you weren't good enough? Was it influenced by a specific event, or did someone tell you that you're not good enough? Where did it come from? Write the story down. Your journal is going to become your best friend during this entire session, during this entire container. Is this belief true? For example, you tell me, oh, this belief came from because my teacher singled me out when I was younger. And now I ask you, is this belief true? You're going to tell me no. Reframe the belief into a positive affirmation. Reframe it. Let's say the belief it's I'm not good enough. You're going to Write the affirmation, I am enough just as I am. Recognize that every belief that you hold is a byproduct of your mind. If you want to change your external circumstances, you must change your internal beliefs. Most of our beliefs are subconscious. We're not aware of them. We're not aware of them. We have to bring them into awareness so we can change them. This is a small exercise, and as we go more in depth, I'm going to teach you certain things that you can introduce on how to become more in sync with these beliefs, more in sync, and how to release them. Okay, and for the next week, we're going to pile up inner work as we go along, but for the first week, we're going to do some affirmations for you. There has been scientific research that in order to change our subconscious mind, we must at least repeat certain affirmations in order to change our rewiring. So you have to repeat these affirmations for at least 21 days in order to make a change. I'm not saying after the 21 days you're not going to repeat them. You must do it every time the doubt comes in. You have to repeat them every time there's a circumstance that is doubting your self-worth. Okay? So the affirmations that I've written here is, I am worthy of all good things. My mind is a powerful tool, and I choose thoughts that empower me. I am worthy of love, of success, and all good things. I honor and respect myself. I trust my decisions. I embrace my unique path. I am confident in my abilities and my value. I am enough just as I am. Repeat these affirmations daily, especially when doubts arise. It is said that you must repeat them at the same time for at least 21 days. We're going to see each other next week, and I expect you to do them for the next week. We're going to do a recap because sometimes it's going to sound as if I'm repeating myself, but it is on purpose because most likely tomorrow you're going to forget about 90% of what I said, and you're going to remain with that 1% of what you're listening. So please come back to this video as many times as you need. Okay? So we're going to do a recap. What does the law of mentalism say? The law of mentalism says that everything starts with your mind. Your mindset creates your reality. 99% of everything is energy. That 1% is the making of the atom, is the composition of the atom. So if we are focusing ourselves in our everyday life, you're going to continue focusing on what you do not have. Focus on what you do want. Take aligned action. Okay, we're not going to go deeper into that. However, the law of mentalism, I just want you to remember this. And remember that everything starts in your mind. I want you also to do the next week an entire process of being aware of everything that's going on in your mind. When a trigger happens, write it down in your journal. This is extremely important. Write down in your journal everything that bothers you, because every trigger is telling you something about yourself. Every trigger, you have no idea how real this is. Once I started doing this inner work, I had major realizations. However, that inner work was only just the beginning. I keep doing my inner work until today. I do get triggered, but I am easy to catch the thought, the negative thought, and change it in matters of seconds into a positive affirmation. Remember, everything that's happening in your surrounding is telling you, whatever it is bothering you is telling something about yourself. Okay, so that is all for this week's foundation of self-worth and the law of mentalism. Be aware of your thoughts. I have left you another daily exercise for you to do the next 21 days. Just like I said before, the affirmations. I would love for you to look at yourself in the mirror and make eye contact with yourself. Start taking deep breaths and speak your affirmations out loud. This creates major shifts because you're talking to yourself in the mirror. Like, once you find a quiet place, you make eye contact with yourself and start with taking deep breaths. Then you speak your affirmations out loud. You're making major shifts. This is just the beginning. Okay? As you speak the affirmations, feel every word that you say. In the beginning is going to feel like you are lying to yourself. But don't think about that. Think that these words are becoming part of you. Think that this is creating a major shift in your mind, in building your self-belief. Okay, that is all for today's video, for today's class, and I'll wait for you on the next one. Bye.